So what I have going on right now for this is my chicken was a little bit thick, so I have it in the oven just like warming up a little bit so I can easily slice it. If it's really cold chicken, it's going to be harder to slice through, so I just have it warming so I can slice it. And then you guys need to just get some of your ingredients ready. So I'm going to use this kind of couscous, which is a pearled couscous. It's thicker green. So I'm going to get that ready. That's going to be step one. So the couscous is going to go into a pot. That's going to be the first thing that we do. It has to boil, and then all of the couscous is going to have a different direction, like on the box. So you're going to follow really the directions of your couscous package. Most of them are the same. It's kind of like a rice. This one says to boil for 8 minutes uncovered, and then season, and then turn it off. So it'll absorb. It's a rice, so it'll absorb everything. This one comes with a spice pack. I'm not going to use it. But what I am going to do is use some of my sauce ingredients in the water. So let's do that first. I'll run through the ingredients that we need, and then I will grab them too. I'm going to have to run to the pantry for a second. But we're going to use a vegetable, so either a frozen pea or frozen corn, any kind of vegetable that you want. If you want to up the protein on this, you can do a chickpea too, which is great for this because it matches really nicely with the glaze. You need some water to loosen up your sauce a little bit. Your couscous, ginger, ground ginger or fresh ginger, some OJ. So orange juice is going to be one of the kind of the sugar element to amp up the sauce. A preserve, so either a honey or a apricot preserve, anything that you kind of is fragrant in that way. If you want to use a different preserve, you can. But since we have a little bit of citrus, we want something that's going to complement this. So a little bit more of a mild preserve, but still somewhat sweet. Spicy brown mustard or regular mustard if you don't like the spice. If you want to make this a slight bit like creamier or more luscious, you can add like a Greek yogurt or a sour cream. So in the meantime, we're going to get our water going in our couscous. So if you have a package of like a 5-ounce couscous, I think I have on yours, it says about a half a cup, which is about a 5-ounce package. You're going to fill this with half a cup of orange juice and a cup of water. So that's what we're going to do right now and just get this boiling. So I'm going to measure about half a cup of orange juice. So now my couscous is going to be flavored as well as my chicken, okay? And then I'm going to add the water to this. Oh, I have my water here already. And I'm going to pop you guys this way. There we go. That's about a cup. And you're going to set this to a medium heat so that it starts to bubble and boil. I'll move this so you guys can see it. And then that's going to get added to our chicken somewhat, okay? So later on, it's going to get added on the top. These spice packets that come with the couscous, you can save them if you want. You can add them in too, but since we're creating a sauce, you don't need to use it unless you want to use this for your sauce. So while my chicken is finishing to warm, I'm just going to grab my honey and my ginger. So you guys grab your ingredients. We also need a saucepan. So I know usually when I cook with you guys, we try to keep this like one pot, less mess. 2 pots today. So we have our pot for our couscous that is going right now, and then you're going to need like a fry pan. So I'm going to grab that. You guys can grab all of your stuff and your chicken if you have it. We've got it all. I'm going to add something a little extra to mine. If you guys want to do that, you can. So I've got all my ingredients. I should have had them prepped. But all right, as soon as at this point, if you guys have your couscous going like I do, I'm going to show you what it looks like. It's a little bit kind of puffy there, right? And that's all of the starch that's coming up. You are going to just reduce it a little bit. I'm going to talk to you about some, just reduce it and let it continue to cook. I'm going to talk to you about some substitutions that you can use as we get this going. I have my ground ginger. If you don't have ground ginger, but you still want kind of like an earthy feel to it, you can add in a little bit of turmeric. I know turmeric and ginger are 2 different kinds of spices, but they have the same health benefits, which is why I like them. They're both really great for blood flow, digestion. So this is a great one to use to sub in. And then if you don't want to use your mustard, you can sub out miso. Okay, so these are just some swaps that you can make. They're both going to add savoriness, saltiness. Okay, so those are some subs that you can use if you want. And then I told you about the honey and the jam. Those are kind of the foundations for this recipe. The glaze is going to be made with our honey and or apricot. If you're avoiding sugar, you can create the same kind of a substance by cooking down the juice, which I'll show you. So I think that we've got it all. And then chicken. So the first thing we're going to do is get going with our sauce. Yes, you can still make chicken. If you don't have couscous and you guys have rice, use some rice, instant rice. Hey, do what works. Rice you can do, because couscous is a grain. It's a Mediterranean grain that reminds me a lot of pasta because it has more of a soft starch. So you can use pastina. If anybody has pastina or those little like pearl pastas, those work. Those are the ones that we like give to kids when they're sick. Those are great. Rice is really good, like I said. Or you can use, oddly enough, I have a lot of farro at home. I bought it once. Don't use it. You can use that. And then another sub would be spaghetti. I know it sounds crazy, but we use spaghetti a lot, and like we have it in our cabinets a lot. Break it up into really small pieces so that they're really tiny, like a centimeter inch. And you can use that, okay? Because what we're looking for is a base for this. So use rice, pasta, anything like that, any kind of grain. And then I'm going to grab my chicken in a minute. But before I do grab my chicken, I am going to start with my sauce creation. I'm going to grab another burner. I'm going to let that keep going. I'm lucky to have like a couple of these, so I'm going to use this to start my sauce, just so you can see both things going on at once. Move it back a little bit. We got a lot of moving parts here today. So I am going to use a saucepan for this, and it's a small one. It's not a big one. It's not a Teflon or anything like that, but it's one of these coated pans where I don't need to add grease to the pan in order for it to not stick. The reason I want you to think about that is because this is going to get a little sticky because of the honey and or preserves, right? So we're going to turn this on medium-low heat, okay? That should do it. And I'm going to start with my orange juice. So for this part, we added orange juice to our couscous there. And I think in our recipe, I always like to reference, I told you guys, we used about 2 tablespoons of orange juice for the sauce. So I added extra for here. We're going to use about 2 tablespoons for the sauce. So I'm going to measure just by eyeballing it. So I'm going to add that first because I want it to cook down. I want all of this sugar to really start to caramelize. So I'm going to do 1 tablespoon, 2 nice tablespoons, and I'm going to keep this on about a medium-low for now, and then I'm going to increase the heat. Let me grab a spoon to mix it. If you have pulp orange juice, that's fine. I don't think I specified in the recipe to be pulp-free. I don't mind if there's pulp in there. Adds texture, adds color, adds flavor, so don't worry about that. So I'm just going to stir this up a little bit, and then I'm going to go in with my spices. I love ginger, so I am going to use the ginger for sure, but I am also going to add turmeric because I like it. So for our recipe, we have about 1/8 of a teaspoon. So that's a kind of like a sprinkle if you want to measure. Sprinkle it in here, save some for your chicken, okay? So I'm just going to give this a little toss in there. I'm going to add a little turmeric. You don't have to. This does not have salt in it. This whole recipe does not have salt in it. So if you do taste it and you want to add salt, you can have that on hand. I'm going to add a little extra benefits. And then you're going to start with your mustard and your preserves. So we're going to cook this down. So we have about 1/2 teaspoon of spicy brown mustard. Your orange juice is already bubbling. So you can use spicy brown or yellow. I've got that in there. If you don't mind the spice, then you're going to do a lot. If you don't love the spice, don't use it. Don't use the spicy mustard, use one that you like. And then we're gonna do a minuscule amount of our preserves. I'm gonna do an apricot preserve right here. And I just use a squeeze of it. Get all that in there, right in there, okay. And my apricot preserve is really sticky, so you're gonna see it start, that's my mustard. You're gonna see your apricot is gonna, it's gonna take a while to melt down. So you're gonna really start to stir it until this is all combined, okay? So we're gonna give this a nice toss together. Break down your mustard, break down your preserves. As soon as everything is broken down, increase the heat a little bit. And what we're gonna encourage here is the sugar to start to caramelize and thicken up. I'm gonna give my couscous a toss. And I am, make sure your flames are about at the medium on the couscous, because you don't want them to get gummy or anything. All right, so I'm gonna show you this. You guys see how that's like bubbling away right there? The more bubbles you see, the more it's gonna reduce. So what we're looking to do is reduce this to about a third. And it's gonna happen with all of these really nice glazy bubbles. I'm gonna lift this so you guys can see it a little better. See that? It's got that beautiful color, and it's kind of thickening up. It looks like it's almost turning into a syrup. That's from all that sugar we have in there. Once it's at that point, you're just gonna reduce a little bit, let it cook down, and let's work on our chicken. My chicken was really thick, so I wanted to kind of bring it to a little bit warmer of a temperature so it's easier for me to slice. I can still hold it, it's not hot, it's just more, it's closer to room temperature than it was before. I had it in the fridge and then I had to travel here. My sauce is really nice and thick now, look at that. Really glazy and sticky. So I am going to turn my heat off and just let it continue to caramelize. And my couscous is bubbling away, so that's good. I'm gonna grab a knife to cut this, but I wanna show you my couscous. Right, so it's pretty much all absorbed. If you would like to add your spice packet, if you are gonna add your spice packet, go ahead and do that now, and then turn off the heat on your couscous so that that starts to thicken. So it's like two things happening here. We've got our couscous cooking, absorbing all that liquid flavor, and we've created our sauce. We've added orange juice to both, so we're marrying these flavors. But in our saucepan, we have orange juice, our ground ginger, our spicy mustard, and our sugar or preserves. Cook that down, and now it's really just a sticky glaze, okay? These two things are done. I'm gonna turn them off and let them sit while I work on our chicken. If you have a thick chicken breast like I have, and I'm gonna grab a knife and show you. I'm sorry I keep moving around so much. If you have a thick chicken breast, you're gonna wanna slice it, okay, in half. So you're gonna wanna break it down. All right, you guys don't have a big knife like this. Not needed. Knife, okay? I'm gonna show you guys how to slice through your chicken breast to thin it out. If you were lucky enough to get thin chicken breast, completely sold out everywhere in New Jersey right now, then you're gonna use that. But I did not get thin chicken breast, so I am gonna bring this right here. All right, so I'm gonna take my chicken breast and I am gonna put the flat side down. There is two sides to a chicken breast, okay? You have like the rounded side and then you have the flat side. I'm gonna take my palm, gloves would be ideal here, but I'm gonna wash my hands right after this. Also, you wanna wash and clean your chicken first. So we always wanna wash it, rinse it. I don't use soap, but sometimes I'll use, if it's a little bit sticky, I might use vinegar, just a tiny bit of vinegar. Just wash it off, rinse it, and make sure it's just got all of the packaging gunk off of it. Okay, so I'm gonna put my hand here and I'm gonna slice right through the center. And then when I get almost to the end, I'm gonna open it like a notebook, okay? So that's a butterfly. It really doesn't look like a butterfly, it looks like a heart. But that's a nice kind of, I've got one chicken breast that I created 2 pieces with. I'm gonna turn this back on. And I'm gonna put this flat side down. So my heart side is gonna go right down, okay? I'm gonna put that right on my glaze right there, and I'm gonna let it cook on that. I'm gonna go wash my hands. So that's the point at which you guys are at right now. I'm gonna come back and see. All right. We're gonna let that cook for a few minutes, and then we're gonna flip it. How is everyone on there? I'm going to recap what we did, but I want to check in with everyone and see how we're doing. This one I'm all over the kitchen on this one. Usually I'm just sitting and not doing anything. Okay, no questions yet, but I'm going to recap what we did. And if anybody used any substitutions, let me know. My couscous is done. I boiled this. It absorbed its water. I used water and orange juice. If you don't want to use the orange juice, you can add the spice packet. You can also, chicken broth, vegetable broth, anything you want to kind of add a little bit of flavor to it. But I like the juice aspect because it's going to really match my chicken. So I've got that. That's all done. That took no effort, right? And then here, I have my chicken cooking in my little bit of glaze. Apricot, honey, ginger, mustard. And I'm going to flip it over. Got some nice, beautiful, like, color, like amber color. And I'm going to lift this so you can see it. The sugar on here. Remember, we reserved some water. Look at my heart-shaped chicken, guys. I love you. Isn't that cute? All of this is being, like, kind of coated onto the chicken. So you're seeing this nice, like, shiny glaze from my honey and my orange juice, the sugar that came down. All of this here, see how it's kind of like stuck on there? If anybody's not getting that, just turn your heat up a bit slightly. We're going to use this. We're going to take that. We're going to do something called deglazing the pan. Ideally, you're going to deglaze with not water. We're going to use water. We've got a lot of citrus in here already, so we don't need to add anything else. I'm going to lower this heat because it's browning really nicely and smoking for me. You should use a white wine, a red wine, another juice. We've got a lot of juice going on, a lot of citrullin acid going on, so I'm going to use water to neutralize it a little bit. So I'm going to take some water. I love this part. I'm going to make sure my gas is on, but very, very low. And then all I'm going to do is add, I think it was like a couple tablespoons of water. Really nice and sizzly. Hear that sizzle? That's kind of cooking, thickening up all of my sticky stuff that's kind of stuck onto the pan. See that? So now I'm just going to move that water around so that all this beautiful stuff that's stuck onto the pan turns into my sauce. I love that I made a whole heart with this. And I'm going to turn this over. Look at that beautiful color on there, right? Really nice and you can see that every time the sugar cooks down, it gets thicker and thicker. So mine's super brown, really cooked down a lot. You might have more of an amber color if you use the honey. If you used a different apricot preserve, I use the squeeze kind, like the culinary squeeze that we buy in Restaurant Depot that has like, it's made for like pastry additions for sauces. It's just a regular apricot glaze. If you've ever made rainbow cookies, that apricot glaze that goes in the middle is perfect. I'm just going to keep, turning this so that it picks up all of that stuff. And then I like to, my couscous is all absorbed. I like to mix the two together before I bring it together. This is a very quick cooking dish, right? It's not something that's really challenging to do. So if you have to come up with something last minute, these are generally ingredients that when you buy them once, you have them in your house so you can pull it together really quickly. I did this last week with dill, same style, same mix and match of these recipes, this glazy chicken, but I added dill and sour cream. I was like sopping up glaze with whatever I could get. It was the best part of the meal for me. This is dirty, so I'm going to move it out of the way. But very affordable, quick, and easy to do. If you don't have chicken, you can use pork chops for this. It's great. Pork chops and those apple-y, citrusy glazes always work really well. And you can use like a veal chop if you want. So mine thickened up quite a bit. Again, that water reduced really nicely, but I have a nice amount of sauce and glaze on there, right? So it's really nice. Can you guys see that? See how like sticky it is? And it smells really good. It smells really earthy. At this point, I can turn it off. I'm going to take questions while this all kind of sits for a minute. If you were using the miso, I brought my miso out before. If you're using miso, you might get a lighter color, but miso is going to add amazing, amazing flavor. A nice kind of citrusy, peppery, salty, tofu-ish kind of flavor. I really love miso for that. And miso makes a great glaze because it's a paste, it's a concentrated paste, and it cooks down really nicely. So if you happen to have once in your lifetime made miso glazed salmon, you still have miso in the fridge. Take your miso out and do this with it. I have some questions. I know, I love my heart. It's perfect for our logo for this, right? I always do that with the chicken, and when you serve somebody, because it's one chicken breast, right? So you could slice it down the middle and get 2 portions. But if you're trying to give, and give everybody a healthy portion, I always do this with it. I cut it that way that I showed you, and I don't go all the way through, and I just butterfly it, and it's a cute little heart. So it's a fun way to do it. So we have our couscous. We cooked it in a little bit of orange juice and water. No other spices or seasoning. We have our chicken. We used orange juice, mustard, ginger, and apricot preserves or honey, and cooked that down, and then added our chicken to it. Now is the time where you're going to taste your chicken, take a little piece of it off, or taste the sauce, and decide if you want to add more ginger, if you do need salt, or if you want to amp up any of your spices. So I'm going to do that. And if you guys are tasting, if you're cooking also, the glazed chicken, taste and comment with what you taste in here. Oh, it's so citrusy. That little bit of orange juice made it really bright. It's really flavorful. I remember I added turmeric to mine because I always try to add a little bit of extra kind of heart healthy stuff to it. Helps for circulation, especially in days like this where you might feel a little dehydrated. So I have a strong taste of the turmeric in mine, which I don't mind. I like. If you guys don't like the turmeric, you don't have to add it. I'll taste a little more. I could probably reduce it a little bit. If it tastes too strong, if you're like, whoa, reduce your sauce a little bit. So I'll show you how to do that. If anybody tasted, I got a nice bit of orange there. I'm gonna bring this up a little bit. And I'm gonna let's say I tasted it and it's really concentrated. It's a very strong flavor. I'm gonna add a little bit more water and just loosen it up a little bit. That will help bring the flavor down a little bit. Now remember, we're also gonna add our couscous, so that is gonna be a big flavor kind of absorbent too. But if you're saying to yourself, this is too much, too sweet, too savory, whatever it is, add a little bit of water and reduce your sauce down, and I'll show you how I did that. The thicker your sauce, the more concentrated it's going to be, okay? So always think about that. When your sauce is really thick, it's got more concentrated flavor. A thinner sauce has a little bit lighter of a flavor. Okay, so now I loosened it up a little bit just so that, okay, maybe my glaze is a little too thick or it's too intense, but my chicken is still nicely glazed. Now I'm going to give it a taste. I got a lot of citrus still. I got a lot of mustard, but it's a little more like toned down, right? So it's a little easier to absorb, easier to swallow if you don't want to serve something with too much intense flavor. Now you have a choice. You can add some couscous right to your pan. I feel like I keep cutting my head off. Add some couscous right to your pan, and it'll start to absorb some of those flavors. Or you're going to plate your couscous and put your chicken on top. So decide what you want to do. I put a little bit in here. I'm going to taste it with the couscous. I like that because now my couscous might still have some more pores to absorb. It'll absorb some of that watered down glaze that I did. Remember, I reduced my glaze a little bit. I'm gonna turn it off because it's, you'll notice every time you turn your heat on, it's gonna thicken really quickly. That's because we have the starch that's in the mustard and the sugar and the juice and the preserves. It's always gonna thicken really quickly, so that's why it goes really quickly. I'm gonna turn it off, so I'll loosen it up, and then I'm gonna plate. Did anybody taste?
What happened to the
How's everybody
pea?
doing?
What about the vegetable?
Oh, the peas, if you're adding the peas, you're gonna add it to your couscous. I meant to add chickpeas to mine because I wanted to amp up my my protein in this. Add your frozen peas. What's great about frozen peas is you can add it to your couscous, fold it through, and it'll cool off your couscous, which is really great. You don't even
Wait a
have
minute,
to
you don't have to cook them? They just put them in frozen?
Yeah, frozen peas you do not have to cook, which is great. If you are ever making soup and your soup is too hot and you need to serve it right away, never put an ice cube or extra water in it. Throw in some frozen peas or some frozen corn. It's going to reduce the temperature of your water, create a little bit of starch because those are starchy vegetables, and add flavor. So you're just going to go ahead and add your vegetables there. I might actually add my chickpeas to this. So imagine these were my peas. And I'm gonna go right into my couscous with them. So if those were my peas, right in there. We add the peas because you always wanna add, you're never gonna serve something to somebody without a vegetable, right? You're always gonna try adding a vegetable. So you're gonna put that right through, just drop them in and then stir it, and you'll see it'll cool it off right away, which is nice. And then you can add that right to your pot. Maybe I'll do that. Or put the chicken right on top. If you don't like peas, if you're serving this to your kids and they're like, no peas, don't want it. Corn is gonna be a little sweet for this, so that might actually encourage them to eat it. You can also do spinach. Take raw spinach, a handful of raw spinach, put it in with your couscous and stir it. Don't cook the spinach. The steam from the couscous is gonna cook whatever vegetable you put in there. Don't use a giant raw vegetable like broccoli. Use a raw vegetable or a frozen vegetable that just needs heating to add through, just to be heated through. I hope that makes sense for everybody. Did anybody taste? I'm gonna taste a little bit more of this couscous because it's very good.
Yes, please, thank you.
I really like this. I love the apricot or the honey or whatever sugar syrup. Essentially, what we've added is a sugar syrup to it is going to add a lot of consistency and body. And that's the thing that's going to, you'll notice that coats your tongue. And then the citrus opens it up. Your mustard's also going to open up. I'm going to grab a plate to plate this. And I'm going to eat this whole thing. That's what I think is going to happen. And I'm not apologetic about it. I'm going to get a little plate here. Yeah, oh, frozen green beans are great. Yeah, I don't know if you've cooked with us before, Ellen. I feel like you have. Look at the recipe and decide, I can't use that, I'm gonna use this. Once you start cooking more often, you'll understand what an ingredient does in the recipe, and if it must be that, or it can be substituted out. Because it's usually just gonna add something to the recipe that you can get from something else. So yeah, frozen green beans are great because you don't have to cook them. Frozen vegetables are usually like shock to flash cooked, so they're boiled once and then frozen so that they are at the peak of their flavor. They can very easily be overcooked. You never want to overcook a frozen vegetable because they get really like kind of gray and limp. So yeah, just put them right through. I love frozen green beans for that. I love the long ones, the French style ones. They always look so kind of fancy, right? So this is if I did not have it in my sauce, right? So this is my couscous that I didn't add to my sauce, just so you can see both. And then this is some of the couscous that I added to the sauce. So you can just see a little bit of the color difference, right? So this one looks glazed over, and this one is a little more neutral and bland. Not bland, but a little more bland in color, blanched, I should say, in color, right? It looks a little more plain. So either one, whichever one you like better, taste them and decide. And then if you have your greens in there, which I do encourage the greens because it's a nice pop of color. I need a lot of protein though lately. I feel like I'm trying to get protein everywhere I can. I've been really like tired with this hot weather. Makes me tired. And then I have my pretty heart chicken. And then if you want to add some more glaze on top, you can. I'm literally going to eat this whole thing by myself. Sometimes I take them home for my kids, but not today. I'm going to put a little bit of the glaze on there. See how like slowly it kind of moves and it's really thick? You almost have to move it around yourself. Very nice, pretty plate. Very simple, quick to do, but all of these great, you know, big flavors. I'm going to taste more. You guys know I don't use a lot of salt. This doesn't need any salt. For me, it doesn't need any salt. Did anybody taste it and decide like, oh, I need a little salt? You might. If you feel like you want a little more salt, you might need it. I think that the ingredients that we used, especially the ginger and the mustard, have enough of kind of a savory element to them that you don't need it. And for some reason, I feel like the orange juice is, sometimes when I drink it, it's like a Gatorade. I feel like it's got salt and sugar. So I don't need it if I'm using that. I've never subbed lemon juice for this recipe. I've never done like very sticky lemon glazy type stuff. I've always used orange juice or grapefruit juice. But if you were using that, you might actually want to add more. If you were using a more tart acid, you might use more sweets. Oh, cranberry grapes. That sounds delicious. I would try that. Yeah, I would try anything. Yeah, if you don't have OJ, sub something else out. The orange juice is adding acid and brightness. So what does it add to the recipe? Substitute it for something that adds the same thing. I feel like lemon has that acid and that brightness, but it's super tart. So that's why I might need to or sour. So I might need to add a little more. If I taste it, I might go, oh, I need a little more honey. So just adjust to taste. But I don't feel like I need any salt. So that's good. This dish also, I think this works as a great cold dish too. So you can eat it as is, serve it, eat it hot. But if you make this cold and cut up the chicken into slices or pieces and serve your couscous cold, it's a nice daytime salad. Like it's a nice, you know, pasta salad or barbecue salad. Because couscous actually will not continue to like glutenize or like form gluten compounds once it's done cooking the way that cold in a pita. I think that would be great. I think that would be really good. Or like mixed with other salad greens, like if you had a leftover salad, a leftover Caesar salad or a leftover cucumber salad, you could chop that up and mix it through and have it cold. This won't like continue to form gluten as it sits. You'll notice, like, if this was pasta sitting in a bunch of starchy water, it would have kind of clumped up or like gotten a little creamy or silky, but the couscous has a nice texture to it where it won't do that. Some of the smaller pastas too are like that, like our pastinas, the ones that absorb and don't need to be drained. Rice, I think, would do the same thing if you didn't overhydrate it. Farro, same thing. It absorbs, you don't need to drain it. So as long as you don't overhydrate, it doesn't get like gummy or anything like that. I'm gonna taste my chicken. I don't want to get up again for a fork, but it's cut very easily with this. That's how like nice and tender. If you're using, if you're unsure if your chicken is cooked, 165 is your internal temperature. So you can grab yourself a thermometer, stick it in there, and you want to cook it to 165. At this point, I can tell by the bounce back and the shape that my chicken is cooked through, and it is. It's cooked all the way through. I can show you a little bit there. You can see where it's right there. There it is. Here. Cooked through. I can tell at this point, but grab yourself a thermometer, and you're going to cook it to 165. Check in the thickest part of the chicken. Very good. I will buy the thin chicken breasts on occasion. Already thin, pounded, really easy. 5 minutes, they're done. But There's something about a thicker chicken breast that is butterflied because it's holding a lot more kind of succulence. It's holding a lot more moisture. So it tends to not be as dry. So that's what I really like about it. When I'm eating it, it's not dry. I really dislike grilled chicken breast that when you bite into it, it's like hard, or like kind of like tough or brittle, because it's been dried out. It's got no more kind of moisture in it. So I really like this because it's a nice balance to everything else. With the couscous and the nice tender couscous and the tender chicken, it's a really nice mouthfeel. And then all of the difference in the acid and the spice.
It's just me.
Okay, good. I wanted to see if anybody else if anybody tasted. I know we have some cookers today, so if anybody did cook and you have a comment or you have a question, yours is probably, if you use the greens, snap a picture and if you want to share it, it's probably a lot brighter than mine. I just noticed that my chickpeas are the same color as my couscous, the same color as my chicken, so I'm glad that my glaze added a little bit of texture and stuff to it. If you want to get like indulgent, a tablespoon of Greek yogurt in here, or a little bit of sour cream, and it just creates like a cream sauce. It's just so good. I'm really into it lately. I'm into doing that to my sauces lately, is just adding a little bit of fat. Could probably try a knob of butter too, and it would like make it glisten, but I'm just into that lately. Because it's so comforting. I feel like I need some comfort lately. So I've been doing that. And like I said, I did the dill the other day, and I was like, I just want to eat this every day. It was dill, mustard, honey, and same thing, dill, mustard, honey, a little bit of sour cream, and a citrus. I did an orange. It was great. Did you guys do, somebody added the sour cream? I will, definitely. You know why I do it lately, sour cream, is because I did a kit, like I did a traveling taco kit, and I had a bunch of packets of sour cream, and usually sour cream is in a tub. My tubs always wind up going bad. I'll use them and forget about them. I had a ton of these little packets, and they were like 2 tablespoons each, and I was like, what am I gonna do with all these packets? You know, I can't keep them in the fridge, or gotta give them away. So I just popped one in there, stirred it through, and I was like, I love it. My daughter does with Greek yogurt. She puts Greek yogurt on everything, quesadillas and things like that. Yeah, I would try some tomato sauce. Why not? Or if you remember, I think we used tomato paste in a recipe once in one of our classes, and you wind up with opening a can of tomato paste, you don't use it. Maybe throw some tomato paste in there and let it kind of dissolve in there, and it adds like a really luscious, rich tomato flavor. Remember, every time you add another liquid, your glaze gets less sticky. So it won't be as like tacky as this one is when you add those other things. Like if I try to scoop this up now, it's like really super thick. It's a really thick glaze, very, very, it coats my spoon. It's very shiny. So the more liquid you add, the more it's going to turn into a sauce. But that's how sauces are made. You start with one thing and then you add different liquids. The burners that I'm using, I love them. I'm in love with them now. I don't use them a lot in class because I'm afraid of open flame around people that are, you know, maybe drinking or unaware, or their kids. But lately we've been using them and they're really great. It's a camping stove. This one is the Chef Master, and it's a camping stove. It comes with a little tiny butane or propane kind of canister. And they're great because I've been doing a lot of traveling cooking shows, and I bring them with me and I can use them. Or if we've got a ton of people here and we need a multiple burner setup, we can use them as long as everyone's like confident with them. But if you guys have a barbecue that has a burner, this is the same thing. So usually you'll hook the propane tank up to the burner part. It works the exact same way. So it's great. I like them, and it's great for the purpose of what we're doing, especially when we have to do multiple ones. And I can control the heat really well. This couscous looks so good and shiny. I was just thinking when I was looking at the couscous, you could probably try some Yes, we can do traveling tacos. Probably some feta cheese, maybe? I don't know. If I was just eating the couscous on its own, I was just looking at it and I was like, oh, if I'm not going to use this for my glazy, because I'm not going to eat all of this, I'm going to definitely eat this. I can turn this into something else. I can turn this into a cold couscous salad. So you'll have lots of leftovers with this one for sure.
Oh, the traveling tacos. I did it. I was like, wait, I think I've seen those before.
Yes,
Yeah,
I love them. The
they're
traveling
fun.
tacos.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do they call them? Walking tacos?
Yeah, walking tacos. I know like people have done it with like the Fritos chips,
Yes.
Doritos, any kind of it's like
You
more
can
so
do it with,
like any corn chip.
yeah, any kind of like packaged chip. When we do them, we'll usually make the tortilla. We'll make a tortilla and then make the chips from it, and then make our tacos that way. Because you can use this flour and water, and you can make a tortilla, and then fry it up on here. And then we use that, and we make our tacos, build our tacos in that, or just do quesadillas that way. And I had a ton of these little taco things. Little taco sauces and sour creams and all of that stuff. Super fun. Now is the time when there's a lot of like fairs for the kids and school and stuff. So we do a lot of fundraising and that kind of thing. Did anybody taste yet? Anybody? I'm curious what people think of this one because we're getting more adventurous in our cooking. Some of the stuff we started with was a little more. Actually, I think the first thing we did was like the morning glory muffin. That was a little out there, and it's still a fan favorite. But I feel like
the white bean dip too.
Yes, that was a good one. I definitely ate all of that. But we're getting a little more, as the recipes go on through the series, we're adding more elements. We started with one single. Now we've got two things going on. But the technique is also changing as well, right? So now we just did a quick pan sauce, and we're talking about how do we turn that glaze into a different kind of a sauce, or what do we do with this to make another recipe. So my goal here is that you don't just learn one recipe, but you start to kind of build on the recipes, so that you can essentially take this and turn it into something else. Nobody ever wants leftovers, right? They're all like, I already had that, I don't want it. So how do you turn this into something else? You do add, okay, this is my one night meal, right? Yes, this is definitely, it's a camping stove, but I use it indoors. These are totally safe indoors as long as you're responsible and don't walk away from it. Just like you wouldn't walk away from your stove on, don't walk away from this. And I can take it apart and show you. It's got a safety feature on it too. But if I made all of this and now tomorrow, I'm like, okay, nobody wants leftovers. I turn it into that cold salad, and I maybe will add a few more fresh vegetables and maybe a cilantro or something, and I chop it all up and make it cold. So you're really learning, how to stretch your meals, the budget of your meal, and the recipes, so that you're not doing like, oh, I have this jar of sour cream in there, and now it's going to go bad. Because that's definitely something I try to avoid. I open my fridge like a couple times a week, and my kids shove a bunch of stuff in there, and then I realize like all this stuff that is in the back is going bad because I didn't know it was there. So I'm really trying like to be mindful of the fact that this stuff costs money, and how can we stretch it and change it and not waste it. I'll show you how this works. Let me move this here. When you buy it, it's going to be in pieces, most likely like this, upside down and flat. But this comes off, so I can wash this easily. This opens, and this is where the canister goes. This is my safety valve. If this is not on lock, this won't turn on. So if I have it on release, it means the gas won't turn on. It means that my canister is loose. So this is what it comes in. It's a butane fuel, like a giant lighter, right? And then you snap it in, put it in there. There's a little place where it connects, and then you have to lock it into place. That's how it's safely, so this doesn't move. Once it's locked, this can't move and like spread butane all over the place. It's locked into place, and then this closes. In order for this to turn on, you can't just go like this. You actually have to turn it on the way you would your stove. That way, you've got to turn it all the way on, and then you can bring it down. should put this on it. This, like I said, you take it off to clean. And then when you're done, if you want, you're done, cleaning or cooking, you can always turn this over this way, and then you can stack them. So we'll stack them sometimes. But lately we've just been keeping them out because I use them so much. So I like it. It's a really safe product because of the safety features on there. I've had a couple people like just mindlessly messing around and they'll flip the valve to release. My burner will not go on. So I've come over and been like, oh, it must be out. And then I see, no, it's not out. It's just on release. It will not turn on because that tank is loose. So I like them. They're made to be safe. And yes, you can use them indoors. Kind of like a hot plate. You want to use it with safety. Same thing with my induction ones. Those are electric. And the benefit of them is that you can touch them. They don't get hot, but it's the same thing. I would never walk away from them, just like I wouldn't walk away from my stove. But I like it. I've been using it a lot, and it's a benefit for me. And then the new grill that I have doesn't have one of these, so I did set up a table and I have one of those there. I bring it inside every night, but I do have that too. So yeah, it's a good product. I should probably sell them. I just get them on Amazon. They're like $30. Don't get them for your college students. I'm gonna say don't do that. They're probably not ready for anything like that. If they're not good cooks, microwave, because I know we're all looking for like college dorm room things right now. Instapot is good for the dorm room. Instapot because it turns off after a while. Anything that auto turns off is good. So I would, adult use only. Any other questions? I'm really curious. This might not be like a fan favorite in terms of flavor. You might be like, oh, too much this, too much that. Adjust it so that you like it. You'll notice the longer it's like sits, I've been talking for a while, the thicker your glaze is going to get, which is always fun. That's always fun. It's like nice and tacky and sticky and sweet and yummy that way. Who's got questions? Anybody else? I don't remember what the next recipe is, but I remember that we got into a nice series of good, like kind of fresh stuff. I know down the line we're going to get into some holiday cooking once the fall comes. Mm-hmm. I hate to talk about fall already, but I feel like July is like upon us and that's it. The summer's over after that. Right?
I know. I feel the same way. I
looked at the calendar and I was like, it's July. That's it. It's done. It's over.
Yeah.
That was fast.
So our next one we have is chilled tofu, and it's for our online kitchen book club because we have.
Yes. Okay, yes. Right. That's going to be super fun.
Yes.
Yeah, and we'll share the book title too, so you guys can take a look at that one.
We love having you here. So.
Oh, good. It's definitely my favorite. And like today, I was dropping everyone off, and I was like, you guys. It's library cooking day. I cannot, I want everyone to go where they have to go. And it's like, I'm cooking with my library people, my friends. It's a lot going on. So I always try to make this a priority. It's a lot of fun for me. And then I always think about I know I try to set up the year, but then I'll find a recipe and be like, oh, I should have done this with them instead. It's like all of these recipes are coming, they're popping up. I might throw up some virtual classes on our website. So if anybody sees them, I'll share the links with these new recipes that are coming up, because there's a lot of stuff in season now too, or an abundance of things. If anybody's growing any herbs or anything like that, you don't know what to do with them, just shoot me an email or go through the library. There's a lot going on right now. I made the mistake of planting mint in the ground. So if any of you have done that, my dilemma, but I've been doing all kinds of mint stuff lately. Mint lemonade and mint tea and mint salad and mint and watermelon and mint in my tuna, mint all over. So I've been just coming up with different ways to kind of use it so that, that it's, I just keep going through it. So I've got a lot of fun recipes. So I will, I did a mint lemon ice cream, and it was like a sorbet. It was very, very good. So I've got all this stuff that I'm just kind of going through. So I'll be posting some of that. So if anybody has a slow evening and I'm online with those classes, feel free to jump on. They're going to be free kind of free virtual, just to kind of go through this season. We've got just so much cooking going on. So yeah, so keep an eye on that, and then I'll see you guys in a month for tofu.
Yeah. All right. Thank you everyone for joining us. Thank you, Fabiana, again for
Thank you,
another
Connie.
amazing
Thank you.
class. And I hope everyone
I
has
hope
a good
everyone
night.
tries this one.
Yes, and
Yeah,
I hope
good night,
if you
everyone.
did make it that you enjoy it. Have a good night, everyone.
Yes, enjoy.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.